fuck happened to my couch? Check it out! It's time to make a move. Never has a moment felt so right. No doubt, it's down to me and you, moving faster than the speed of light. I can feel my engine pumping faster, faster, raging with an appetite for turbo speed. I can't stop till you see what I got, 'cause I was born to be a winner. Take a good look, my game is off the hook, 'cause I am no beginner. Lean and mean, listen to my machine kicking into overdrive. We were born to ride. We ride to survive. Yeah! Greetings, viewers, and welcome to, well, I suppose is what's left of the show. Yeah, as you may have already noticed, someone's broke in and stole my couch. But as they say, we must keep the show going, or something like that. So then, that's on the agenda for today.
Muppets from Space.
Oh, fuck donkeys! So, we got us this little gem. Muppets from Space is essentially everything the Muppets were pretty much going through in the 90s culminated into a single film. This film, along with the failed sketch comedy show Revival and a few mediocre TV specials, was actually credited for helping to kill off the Muppet franchise for quite a while, as they appeared to have lost their sense of direction. So let's see why they chose not to go with Harry Krishna. This is Muppets from Space. So the movie begins with, oddly enough, a biblical thunderstorm, with Gonzo trying to make his way into Noah's Ark, but is denied upon realizing he's a one-of-a-kind creature. And just like any hardcore Christians would say to those who are unique and think for themselves, Noah gives him these words.
Then you are doomed!
Yeah, I'm guessing the director was a member of the Seventh-day People's Order of the Solartology Knights of Solomon Rajneesh communities. Well, at least he was courteous enough to provide a parasol. And because Gonzo was apparently forced to sit through A Thief in the Night one too many times in Sunday school, he wakes up in a night sweat where he nearly catapults his roommate Rizzo right out the window.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rizzo.
As things calm down a bit, we cut to the next morning as we see the Muppets going through their morning routine, set to the tunes of Brick House by the Commodores, because nothing says kids movie like a song about buxom bombshell beauties strutting their stuff in the streets and showing what their mama gave them. Seriously, have you ever actually read any of these lyrics?
She's nice and my cat, just letting it all hang out. I like lady stack, that's the fact. Ain't holding nothing back. She's the one, the only one, built like an Amazon. And this is supposed to be a kids movie.
Yes, I am aware that the Muppets were just as much for adults as they were for kids. But by the late 90s, it seemed like they were being geared more and more towards the kiddie demographic, which sort of diminished their staying power with the general public at the time. Well, it's good to know the mentally challenged cousin of the reindeer trophy from Evil Dead 2 is getting work. Well, as outdated as this joke is, at least they remembered that Goda Mouse had already left the group. As you can tell from the poster, she is nowhere to be seen.
Way to get down with your bad self.
What did Kermit just say?
Way to get down with your bad self.
Yeah, I think you may have been hanging around Clifford a bit too long. So after that risque music number, they all sit down for breakfast. And apparently Kermit is on vacation?
What are you going to do now that you're on vacation?
Well, Robin, you know, as soon as I get those house painters started, I'm going to kick back and relax.
It'll be the longest vacation you ever heard of.
This is probably a better time than ever to tell you that one of the Muppet characters in this scene is actually performed by an 11-year-old girl. That girl was Christina Donnelly, who died from cancer a few months after the film's release, but not before being given the opportunity by the Make-A-Wish Foundation to appear in a small part in a Muppet movie. And when given the choice between acting and puppeteering, she chose the latter. More specifically, she performed as the character Bab the Sheep. They then have a breakfast fiasco where the oven explodes, which sends the other Muppets to leave in a huff, giving the opportunity for Gonzo to have a felt-to-felt chat with Kermit regarding his identity crisis,
That bar mitzvah today?
Nah, the Electric Mayhem's covering.
as well as a quick little kosher joke. Well, it could have been worse. They could have been performing for Hare Krishna.
It's a running gag.
He reassures Gonzo in the best way he can.
You know what you are, Gonzo?
What?
Distinct.
Don't worry about it, Gonzo. That's just another way of saying that you're autistic. So after that little conversation, Gonzo decides to prepare himself a balanced, nutritious breakfast. But when he accidentally spills some of it on the table, it reads out a mysterious message.
Are you there?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just witnessed the genesis of Internet chat room speak. It's from there we cut to CIA headquarters, or more specifically, the Covenant Division. It's here we see the director of this division, K. Edgar Singer, played by Jeffrey Tambor, who's clearly meant to be an XP of J. Edgar Hoover, and his assistant, Bobo the Bear, from the short-lived Muppets Tonight Show, and they waste absolutely no time in making a first impression on the audience.
The remote.
The goat?
He advises Commissioner Gordon about the mysterious message spread across the globe and finds one that's particularly disturbing.
This one says RU3, but we believe that to be, well, a simple spelling error.
Or it could be that you entered a pretty fucked up part of the UFO chat rooms. Quick hint, if any of you see a UFO that has an ice cream label on it, hide your kids. Commissioner Gordon has none of this and dawdles off like a cranky old fart. We cut back to Gonzo as he's stargazing on the roof looking for answers, and he gets struck by lightning. Okay, he's not dead, but he does end up having a head trip where he's drifting through deep space. Sure hope he finds my rocket-fueled boots out there. I lost them during my Jetsons the Movie review. He then comes across these mysterious cosmic fish who tell him that he's an alien and that his brethren have been searching for him for years.
They fish too?
No. We are not the same as you. We are highly evolved beings.
And I guess lightning really does strike twice, as this must be the same one that struck Johnny number 5, as these fish might just be related to Ben Jibatuya Jarvie.
I enjoyed repeatedly throwing you to the ground.
We see that the other Muppets are playing a game of poker as Gonzo informs them of his fish vision and ends up turning their game into a session of 52 flame pickup. Quick! Play a game of Hold'em! Omaha, 8 or better! 7-card stud, 8 or better! Gonzo then decides to mow the lawn to lay out his response message, which then catches the attention of Covenant. Which means either the Muppets have the biggest backyard in the entire country, or this image was taken by one of the lowest orbiting satellites ever launched. And considering it was launched by the guys pretending to be a cement company, I'd believe either one. Rizzo and Pepe then trick Gonzo into building a jacuzzi for them, thinking that it'll bring his alien brethren closer to him. Because with friends like these...
What a rat!
But it does provide an opportunity for some of the lesser Muppet characters to appear in...
A very brief cameo.
And speaking of cameos, we see the Muppets watching UFO Investigation Series number 247B, starring Shelley Snipes, played by Andy McDowell. You know, that chick from Groundhog Day, as well as those low reel commercials. I wonder if she's dubbed over by Glenn Close in this movie, who's a UFO media journalist whom Miss Piggy is competing against. Oh, and did I forget to mention that there's a subplot surrounding Miss Piggy getting a job in the local news station? Well, apparently that seems to play a small part in this film's plot, but didn't seem all that important until now. The show is also on the air thanks to TV producer played by Deuce Bigelow himself, Rob Schneider.
Who am I kidding? Yes, I am.
Miss Piggy manages to get the job due to Shelley being stuck in Plot Convenience Airlines, and as usual, completely fucks it up on her first day of broadcast. Fortunately for her, Gonzo comes in for the save to give out a message to his fellow extraterrestrial brethren.
Will be brief. I was contacted through my breakfast cereal, and later it was confirmed to me by the cosmic fish that I am definitely from outer space.
Well, to be fair, in terms of keeping your dignity after saying something really nuts on live television, I'd probably rank his speech somewhere above Tom Cruise, but still far below Dan Aykroyd.
I'm at 44 Bronson Lane, and I can't wait to meet
Okay, knock him down a few notches for doing that on live TV, since we all know what happens when you reveal your home address to the general public in any medium.
I'm interviewing you! What? Great!
Of course, Gonzo seems to upstage Piggy, stealing her thunder as he's a big hit with audiences. Kermit manages to get there in time to try and be the voice of reason as he usually is, but not before a few cronies from Covenant show up and take Gonzo away. Of course, Piggy's not going to let such a big opportunity slip away from her, so she takes on one of the cronies. It goes about as well as you would expect.
Is that all you got? Is that all you got? Is that all you got? Is that all you got?
Yep, can't talk now. Mike's tripping.
Meanwhile, back in the house, Gonzo's new fan base has sprouted all across the backyard, again showing the ramifications of self-doxing in public. Also, is it too late to include the Raelian movement on that previous list? Miss Piggy informs the others of Gonzo's kidnapping as she's excited for the news story it'll make. So the gang settles in an underground lab where Bunsen and Beaker are preparing for the government break-in,
No, that's scotch tape.
and Miss Piggy is right behind them. We cut back to Covenant as Singer is getting ready to examine Gonzo.
No nostrils. How do you smell?
Awful. Trust me, I'm his roommate.
Well, let's be honest here. You just sort of walked right into that one.
Don't laugh at me!
Because I will not let you tell me what to do!
I don't let them tell me what to do.
It's probably not a good time.
Forgive me my earthly manners.
Well, that's what happens when you turn the page of Dianetics even once. He has Rizzo taken away by Hulk Hogan, Hollywood Hogan, so now you can really tell that this movie is outdating itself. Just be glad he's not finger-pointing you.
What do you think that's gonna think?
Hey, what you gonna do? I'm a bad guy now.
Now, for those of you who don't quite understand or even remember this long, outdated heel turn that Hogan went through, you see, it all started one day when the WCW organization decided that it was time to branch out into their own group, which they labeled the New Wrestling Order, or the NWO for short, whereas Hogan was among the three He's a TV executive who seemed to have it all.
Yes, I am. No? Okay, I'm panicking. Who can we possibly get at the last minute?
Until one day, when he had to work for a pig.
What are you talking about? You're the coffee pig.
Huh?
This summer, he'll find out that being green is not as easy as it seems.
The phones are lighting up like Vegas. What power, what heat. Beautiful, bitch. See a whole follow-up episode here.
You've seen him as a stapler. You've seen him as a carrot. You've seen him as derpty-diddly-derpty-derpy-dum. Now, Rob Schneider is a Muppet. Rated PG-13.